In the late 19th century, the Philippines was under the control of Spain. For more than 3 centuries, Spanish authorities ruled the islands, shaping politics, religion, and society. But beneath the surface, many Filipinos were growing restless. They longed for justice, dignity, and freedom. Among those who would challenge colonial rule was a brilliant young man named José Rizal. Rizal was born on June 19, 1861, in the town of Calamba, Laguna. From an early age, he showed remarkable intelligence and curiosity. He loved reading, writing, and learning languages. As he grew older, Rizal pursued education with determination, studying medicine and the humanities both in the Philippines and abroad in Europe. While studying overseas, Rizal witnessed how other nations enjoyed freedoms that Filipinos did not have under Spanish rule. These experiences deeply shaped his thinking. Instead of taking up arms, Rizal believed the path to change was through knowledge, reform, and truth. To awaken the Filipino people, he began writing. In 1887, Rizal published a novel that would shake colonial society. The book was called Nali Mi Tanhair, meaning touch me not. Through powerful storytelling, Rizal exposed the corruption, abuse, and hypocrisy within the colonial system. He described the suffering of ordinary Filipinos under oppressive officials and friars. The novel quickly spread among readers and intellectuals. For many Filipinos, it opened their eyes to the injustices around them. But for Spanish authorities, the book was dangerous. 4 years later, Rizal published a second novel, El Filibusterismo. Darker and more intense than the first, the novel revealed the growing anger of the people and warned of what might happen if reforms were ignored. Through his writings, Rizal did not call for violent revolution. Instead, he demanded equality, representation, and dignity for Filipinos under Spanish law. Yet his influence continued to grow. By the 1890s, Rizal had become one of the most respected Filipino intellectuals of his time. His ideas inspired reform movements and awakened a sense of national identity among Filipinos. However, the Spanish colonial government saw him as a threat. In 1892, Rizal returned to the Philippines and founded a peaceful reform organization called La Liga Filipina. Its goal was to unite Filipinos and promote social progress through education and cooperation. But Spanish authorities quickly moved against him. Rizal was arrested and exiled to the remote town of Dapitan in Mindanao. There, he lived quietly for 4 years. Even in exile, he continued helping the local community, practicing medicine, teaching students, and promoting education. Meanwhile, tension across the Philippines was rising. In 1896, a secret revolutionary society known as the Katipunan launched an uprising against Spanish rule. This event would later become known as the Philippine Revolution. Although Rizal was not involved in the rebellion, Spanish authorities blamed him for inspiring the revolutionary spirit. He was arrested once again and brought back to Manila to face trial. The charges were severe: rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy against the Spanish government. The trial moved quickly, and many historians believe the outcome had already been decided. Rizal was found guilty. His punishment was death. On the cold morning of December 30th, 1896, Rizal was taken to Bagumbayan Field in Manila, the place where executions were carried out. Today, this historic site is known as Rizal Park. Soldiers prepared for the execution as a crowd gathered to witness the moment. Despite the gravity of the situation, Rizal remained calm and composed. The night before his death, he wrote a final poem titled Mi Ultimo Adios, meaning my last farewell. In it, he expressed his love for the Philippines and his hope that his sacrifice would help bring freedom to his people. Moments before the execution, Rizal stood facing away from the firing squad. At the sound of the command, the soldiers fired their rifles. As he fell, Rizal turned his body to face the sky, an act remembered as a final symbol of dignity and courage. He was only 35 years old, but his death did not silence his message. Instead, it ignited the spirit of the Filipino people. News of Rizal's execution spread quickly across the islands. Many who had once hoped for peaceful reform now believed that independence was the only path forward. the revolution against Spain intensified. Just 2 years later, Spanish rule in the Philippines would come to an end. Today, José Rizal is remembered not only as a writer and intellectual, but as a martyr whose ideas awakened a nation. His novels remain among the most important works in Philippine literature. His life continues to inspire generations to value education, courage, and love of country. Every year on December 30th, the Philippines commemorates Rizal Day, honoring the hero who chose words over weapons, truth over silence, and sacrifice over fear. More than a century after his death, Rizal's message still echoes through history. A nation awakened by a pen, a hero remembered by millions, and a legacy that helped shape the destiny of the Philippines.